Trucker of the Sky, Christopher Daniels, Frank Fizan, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
SCU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on. Word.
Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot. Today is Sunday, March the 22nd, 2020. For those of you watching on YouTube, you might notice a little bit different setup today. Got the camera in a different spot. Had to make some adjustments because I'm working my day job from home now, so I had to make some adjustments to my workstation here to accommodate my my work computer. So, but you know, it is what it is. I actually kind of like this angle, so I may leave it this way permanently. But yeah, been a crazy week. It's day 2 of the shelter-in-place order here in Illinois, and you know, everybody seems to be doing okay with it. Obviously, you're gonna have people bitching and moaning, but you know, it is what it is. It's for everybody's health. You know, I mean, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, there's this crazy virus going around. It's infected a huge number of people, and you know, this is what needs to be done in order to contain it and prevent the spread of it as much as possible. And you know, of course, there's those paranoid idiots out there. Oh, they're instituting martial law. No, they're not. You can still go out of your house. You can still go to the store. They just don't want people congregating in large numbers, and that means closing down workplaces that are not essential. You know, like the office that I work in. I'm still able to work, thankfully. I'm very grateful for that. But you know, they had to close the office down, obviously, because there's more than 50, I'm sure more than 100 people that work just in my office alone. So, you know, they don't want people gathering in those large numbers to contain the spread of the virus. So just deal with it. If you can't stand being in your own house for a couple of weeks, there's probably some larger problems going on. So maybe take a look at that before you start bitching and moaning about being made to stay home for a little while. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening, watching, subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at Catch, Hook, Shoot on all social media platforms. Check out patreon.com for bonus content. That's patreon.com/catchhookshoot and prowrestlingtees.com/catchhookshoot for all your t-shirt needs. And as always, the email address is catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So let's get into this just really kind of weird week of pro wrestling with everything else going on. We're starting it all off like we always do with the match of the week. Alright, so this week's match of the week comes from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. Took place at the Daily's place in Jacksonville, of course, and it was empty, as most wrestling shows have been the last couple weeks or so. And but it was honestly, it was a really, really good show. And the match of the week was the main event of that show, the 6-man tag team match between the Elite, consisting of Matt Jackson, Hangman Page, and Cody Rhodes, taking on members of the Inner Circle, Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz. And this was for the one-man advantage in the Blood and Guts match coming up. Now, the Blood and Guts match, of course, is like old school NWA War Games style match, with the staggered entry of the participants, starting off with 2 guys for 5 minutes, and then you know, after the 5 minutes, the team with the man advantage, in this case the Inner Circle, who won this match, you know, their next guy comes in, and 2 minutes, guy from Elite comes in, and so on and so forth. I'm sure most of you guys know how War Games works, even if the only ones you've ever seen have been the NXT version, which are still pretty good. But yeah, the Elite versus the Inner Circle, I thought it was a fantastic match. A lot of, you know, I mean, it was really one of the only matches to take place this week. You know, WWE, of course, has been doing their shows from the Performance Center. Hasn't been a lot of live matches going on, and you know, which I'm sure is smart. It's for the safety and the health of everybody involved, and so yeah, but Inner Circle versus the Elite 6-man tag team match from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. Definitely make sure you check that one out. So let's roll right along into the next segment of the show, which is basically my favorite highlights of the week, and it is called the 3 Count. First up on the 3 Count is the debut of Matt Hardy in AEW, and this was right after that 6-man tag team match that I was just talking about. Of course, like I said, the Inner Circle won the man advantage for the Blood and Guts match, and Chris Jericho, of course, was standing up on the stage gloating, and of course, Nick Jackson out of action indefinitely is what they're saying after the attack by the Inner Circle last week. And so Jericho's gloating how not only do they have the man advantage as far as the order of entry goes into the match, but they also have a man advantage over the Elite because it's now 5 against 4, and just up there talking all kinds of crap. And then when he got done with his little harangue, who do we see show up but Vanguard 1, the drone from the Free the Delete series from Matt Hardy, and up in the seats, up in the stands, was Matt Hardy himself. So he is now part of AEW, and he will be backing up the Elite in that Blood and Guts match whenever it does take place. Second up on the 3 Count is another AEW debut, and I'm talking about Brody Lee being revealed as the Exalted One of the Dark Order. Now, this is one rumor that was swirling around for a little bit. It was pretty much, most people thought it would either be Brody Lee or Matt Hardy. There was a lot of kind of false information put out there, or false hints put out there by AEW and by Matt Hardy himself, kind of playing into that. And, a little bit of misdirection there. But, Brody Lee is the Exalted One of the Dark Order. He did show up on Dynamite, and he and Evil Uno and Stu Grayson attacked SCU, put a pretty good beat down on him. So, looks like that rivalry is going to continue, which I think is awesome. I mean, I'm loving the rivalry between SCU and the Dark Order. I like kind of the little mind games they played, trying to make everybody think that Christopher Daniels was going to be the Exalted One. So I'm looking forward to see where this one's going to go. And up third on the 3 Count, the announcement from WWE that WrestleMania is still on and will take place from the WWE Performance Center, like the rest of their shows have been doing the last about 2 weeks. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, all happening from the Performance Center. But another interesting twist on this is that WrestleMania is going to be 2 nights. Now, I know this is something a lot of people have talked about would be a good idea, myself included. And I'm assuming it's going to be like 3 to 4 hours each night. From last I read, they were planning on like 16 matches or something like that. Now, they did announce that they will not be having the Battle Royals, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal, which is smart. With everything going on, I don't think you want 20 to 30 people in the ring all together at the same time. Legally, I don't know if they'd be able to do that anyway. And there was also some talk about it possibly taking place from multiple venues, and I would assume that would be to keep the number of people in each venue at a minimum. So, they would just have like essential personnel, production people, and commentators, or commentators could be in a completely different location, call the matches remotely, and, obviously the wrestlers. So we'll have to see if that part's true. But, WrestleMania taking place pretty much from the Performance Center will be 2 nights, April 4th and April 5th. And also, apparently, a lot of, if not all, WWE programming for the next few weeks is going to be pre-recorded. They've actually been recording stuff at the Performance Center for Raw and SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, and it's going to be recorded and put out, on the respective days. I guess Raw tomorrow is supposed to be live, but after that they're pretty much going to be recording everything for the next few weeks within a couple of days, including WrestleMania, if the rumors are to be believed. So it definitely a very interesting time with everything going on in the world, how it's affecting, it's affecting everything obviously, but how wrestling companies are trying to work around it and still put content out for the fans. And the fact that they're even doing it is just it's awesome. And it's not just WWE and AEW. I mean, independents are still doing what they can, and just to entertain everybody who's pretty much stuck at home. So, good for all of the wrestlers, the promoters, and everything else for keeping, doing their part and doing what they can to keep us entertained during this just really, really crazy time going on. So moving into what's been going on the little bit of wrestling that has been on TV the last couple of weeks. On Raw, we had the contract signing between The Undertaker and AJ Styles for their WrestleMania match. Kind of interesting appearance by The Undertaker. He wasn't exactly the dead man, but wasn't quite big evil American badass Undertaker either. He's kind of a hybrid, somewhere in between. Came out wearing the skull cap, had the straps down on his singlet, and not really putting forth that dead man persona. Showing more of the real person, Mark Calloway. And obviously, because of stuff that AJ Styles had said about his wife and things like that. So it looks like we could be getting another character change from The Undertaker coming up, and I'm here for it. Every time The Undertaker has evolved in some way or another, it has just kind of reinvigorated, revitalized his career. Now, I'm not saying I think he's going to go back to wrestling full time. We're not going to be seeing him on Raw and SmackDown every week or anything like that. But I'm always a fan of the persona changes when it comes to The Undertaker. So I'm anxious to see what they have in store. We also saw a promo from Edge. It's really weird watching these promos and stuff in an arena with no audience, but they're making it work. I mean, Edge went out there and cut a hell of a promo on Randy Orton, challenged him for a last man standing match at WrestleMania. Last man standing in an empty arena, that's gonna be a bloodbath if WWE allows it to be. So, interested to see how that one's going to play out. NXT this week was just odd. It was Tom Phillips and Triple H from the WWE headquarters, and it was more or less just kind of like a recap / hype show, recapping the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa rivalry, stuff like that. There were no live matches at all, so that's pretty much all there is about NXT. Yeah, on the SmackDown side, we saw Rob Gronkowski did make his appearance. He is going to be the host of WrestleMania. That's the announcement that was made. So, don't know if, that means he's going to be a part of WWE going forward, or if this is just a one-off, or what exactly is going on. But during that announcement, we saw Elias and Baron Corbin make an appearance and set up a match for the two of them for WrestleMania. And then we finally saw Paige make her appearance on SmackDown that she was supposed to make, I think it was last week, but she wasn't able to be there because of travel issues. She appeared this week via Skype and, confronted Bayley like she was supposed to do last week. And a lot of people were speculating that it could potentially be Paige making the announcement that she has been cleared to return to in-ring action. That was not the case, but she was there to announce Bayley's opponents, plural, for WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's title, and those opponents are Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Tamina, who we haven't seen on TV in quite some time, Naomi, and Bayley's best friend Sasha Banks. And the rumor is that this is going to be kind of the catalyst to start another feud between Bayley and Sasha. Now, these two, they've been friends, been rivals, all back and forth a number of times over the years, but the two of them always put on great matches, so I'm interested to see which one's going to make the turn. I mean, they're both heels at the moment, so who's going to be the one to make that babyface turn? I can't see it being Bayley. She hasn't been a heel for all that long, unless they really think it's not working, and then they're going to turn her back. But honestly, I think Bayley is doing a pretty good job as a heel so far. She's still kind of getting a feel for it. People are just very impatient with her, or in general. I'm not even going to say this with Bayley. People are very impatient. They expect immediate, instant results and instant gratification from everything. Doesn't work that way, guys. She's still getting a feel for what it's like to be a heel and finding that heel character. And I think she's doing a pretty good job so far. So I hope they continue with the heel Bayley, because I'm liking it. So by that logic, I would assume it'd be Sasha Banks to make a babyface turn. But even that, Sasha is a much better heel than she is a babyface. So I see no reason why it couldn't be a heel versus heel rivalry. I mean, people, it doesn't always have to be a good guy versus bad guy thing. It can be babyface versus babyface or heel versus heel, and I think people would still be there to see it. So figuratively, obviously, but yeah, so we'll have to see how that one plays out. We also did have a tag team match during SmackDown. Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan, newly paired up, defeated Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Saw a little bit of a confrontation in the back after the match. Sami Zayn still trying to tell Daniel Bryan to join up with his crew. Daniel Bryan basically shooting him down and saying, why don't you give me a title shot at the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania? So basically the way it ended up is Drew Gulak is taking on Shinsuke Nakamura this coming week on SmackDown. And if Gulak wins, then that means Bryan gets his Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania. So I'm looking for Gulak to win. Yeah, some miscellaneous WWE news with WrestleMania being moved to the Performance Center with no audience. They have basically canceled NXT TakeOver and the Hall of Fame ceremony. Now, there was some speculation that the TakeOver card could take place just on that week's regular broadcast of NXT on that Wednesday, which, I got no problem with that. I hope they do. I hope they do go that route because I know they had some killer matches lined up for that one. The Hall of Fame, they're speculating that it's going to be now held SummerSlam weekend, which I can see that. It's not. I don't think that would be a bad thing. It's still an opportunity for to have an audience there by that time. Hopefully by August we're able to start congregating again. And, it's the second biggest pay-per-view weekend of the year. I'm sure there'll be an NXT TakeOver event that weekend as well. So that is the next best weekend to do the Hall of Fame. It's not a wrestling show, so you don't have to worry about booking matches or rivalries or figuring out how all that's going to work. It's just a matter of getting the location and stuff like that, which I'm sure, like I said, there should be an NXT event that same weekend. So I think doing the Hall of Fame during SummerSlam is definitely the best time to make that one up. And as I talked about earlier, WWE is going to be pre-recording pretty much everything for the next several weeks. It sounds like, I would say probably through mid-April from what I was reading. And that's including WrestleMania, NXT, all their television shows. So yeah, I guess that's so that their people can kind of keep themselves in isolation like everybody else is trying to do, but they've still got content to put out for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever it may be. Moving into some AEW news, the Blood and Guts match that was supposed to take place this Wednesday has been postponed. Tony Khan put out an announcement yesterday, I think it was, that they were going to hold off on this one until they are able to have audiences again, which I think is a good call. A match like that, you definitely want a crowd in the building. And so, yeah, and I'm sure that will, I'm sure that the announcement of when that's going to take place will happen as soon as we get the all clear from the powers that be to start having sporting events and things like that again. I already talked about the Inner Circle winning the 6-man match versus the Elite for the man advantage as far as the order of entry into Blood and Guts. And then coming up this week on Dynamite, we've got a couple of pretty good matches booked. The Best Friends taking on the Lucha Brothers in a parking lot fight, and then Wardlow and Luchasaurus in a lumberjack match. Now I don't know if they're using this as kind of the start of a rivalry between two of the big guys in AEW, but Wardlow versus Luchasaurus should be an insane match, and I'm looking at that one as my early pick for match of the week for next week. Some Impact news: Sami Callihan made his return this week on Impact, revealed himself as the one that's behind all of the kind of interference and hacking and stuff that's been going on their TV broadcasts and social media. Showed up during the segment with Ken Shamrock. Impact was announcing that they're putting Ken Shamrock into their Hall of Fame. Lights went out when they came back on. Callahan was in the ring and shot a fireball into Ken Shamrock's eyes. So apparently that's going to be their next rivalry for Sami Callihan is going to be Ken Shamrock. Some AEW news: they did announce that the Crockett Cup and NWA Power TV tapings are suspended, pretty much indefinitely until they're able to until we're able to start having gatherings again, because apparently, I would assume they just they don't want to run those shows with no audience present. So NWA is pretty much, the entire NWA is pretty much on hold at the moment, as is a lot of other stuff. So I mean, it's not just them. So that's pretty much it for news and rumors for the week. I mean, not a whole lot going on. But let's get now into some independent news, some independent results, and all that's going on in indie wrestling. And of course, I am talking about the Indie Cut with Charlie G.
Thank you, Tom, and hey there, wrestling friends. I am Charlie G with your Indie Cut. There was some indie wrestling action before and after all shutdowns to recap, so let's get to it with some Bar Wrestling 55 Mamba from March 11th, with Joey Ryan defeating Ray Rojas, Taya Valkyrie defeating Andy Brown, Phoenix Star, Zachary and Miranda Elise defeating Delilah Doom, Eli Everfly, and Douglas James, and Willie Mack defeating Chris Bay. At Fight Club Pro, Friday the 13th in England, they had a Fight Club Pro Openweight title tournament first round matches, with Travis Banks defeating Shirokiro Iri, Chuck Mambo defeating Mike Bailey, Kyle Fletcher defeating Shota Umino, and A-Kid defeating Lee Hunter. In the main event, for the Fight Club Pro Tag Team titles, Dan Maloney and Man Like DeRays defeated Mustache Mountain champions to become new Fight Club Pro Tag Team champions. On the 13th, AAA and MLW held a joint show with Dominic Guarini and Tom Lawler defeating Extreme Tiger and Puma King for the Caribbean Heavyweight title. Richard Holiday retained against Chessman. In a tag team match, Mortiz and Pagano defeated Mance Warner and Savio Vega. Verno defeated Douglas James. In a MLW Openweight title match, Alexander Hamilton retained against Laredo Kid. The Hart Foundation of Brian Pillman Jr. and Davey Boy Smith Jr. defeated Los Mercenarios, Tejano Jr. and Rey Escorpion. And in the AAA World Trios title match, Hijo del Vikingo, Mr. C's Jr. and Octagon Jr. retained against Jordan Oliver, Coto Brazil, and Myron Reed. And in the main event, Hijo del LA Park, and LA Park Jr. defeated El Miliano, Nina Hermagesa, and Psycho Clown. Then AAA did some small live events at a music festival on the 14th, with Eclipse Jr. and Vanilla defeating Hades and Mamba, and a AAA World Minis 6-way cage match, which I would love to have seen this. Champion Dinastia retained against La Parquita, La Parquita Negra, Laredo Boy, Mini Psycho Clown, and Octagoncito. Australian Suicide and Bengala defeated Aries and Ultimo Maldito. And Aerostar and Maximal, who was back from his heart attack, defeated Tejano Jr. and La Parte Negra. On the 15th, Lady Maravilla and Viano III Jr. defeated Kyra and Nino Hamburguesa. In a six-man tag match, Aramis, Hijo del Vikingo, and Mr. Iguana defeated Pandora del Norte with Carter Bravo Jr., Moto Cota Jr., and Tito Santana. Not that Tito Santana. Mississippi Jr. and Octagon Jr. defeated Abismo Negro Jr. and Argenis. And for the AAA Latino title four-way match, which was vacant, Dave the Clown defeated an unknown competitor, Drago and Pagano, to become new AAA 5 Latino champion. On the 15th, WSU 13th anniversary show, Paris Vandale defeated Boink the Clown. For the WSU Spear title match, champion Divine defeated Basic Becca. In a singles match, Gabby Ortiz defeated Veda Scott. And in the WSU World title match, Brittany Blake retained against Tasha Steeles in a fine match. Also from the 15th, SUP Shorter, Faster, Louder. Kung Fu Janela defeated Cabana Man Dan with the biggest title belt I've ever seen. For the SUP Tag Team title match, Violence is Forever of Dominic Guarini and Kevin Koo retained against Boomer Hatfield. And Molly McCoy. Brett Eisen defeated Benjamin Carter, who was really a cool up-and-comer. I hope to see him on more events. In an SUP Bone Storm title #1 contendership match, bunkhouse brawl match, I should say, the one called Manders defeated Jaden Newman. Later on that night, in the Bizarro Lucha Bizarro, the Ghost in the Machine, the AAW Heavyweight Championship title was put on, with Atticus Cogar lost to champion Mance Warner. This was a wild, hard-hitting match. After a door would not break after 4 tries, Cogar finally ripped it apart, allowing Mance to throw him through the rest of the door and chairs for the win. After the match, Mance was taken out by a fireball from Holly Cromwell. Shazza McKenzie defeated Nick Gigi. Levi Everett defeated Dale Patricks in a solid match. Ace Perry lost to Lee Moriarty. Trip Cassidy defeated Alley Cat by Tombstone Piledriver. And in the Luchaversal Championship match, champion Calvin Tankman retained against Malphus 066. Finally, on the 15th, the Future Stars of Wrestling Mecca 6 with Austin Aries on commentary, which is actually quite fun. The FSW Tag Team title match of Kenny King and Shogun Jones retained against Big Money Clutch and Sugar Brown. And the FSW No Limits title 4-way match, Ice Williams retained against Funny Bone, Remy Marcel, and TJP. In a non-title match of Impact Champion Tessa Blanchard defeated FSW Women's Champ Lacey Ryan, who if you've seen on Impact lately. And then they held an FSW Grand Title Tournament first round matches of Michael Elgin defeating Tom Lawler in a great match. Willie Mack defeating Sefa Fatu, replacing a sick Brian Pillman Jr. All the best to him. Alexander Hammerstone defeating Chris Adonis. And in the main event was Chris Bay defeating Daga. Great show by FSW. Hopefully they can come back and put on great shows soon. Now for the Wrestle Talk Showcase No Fans Monday from the 16th. Paul Robinson defeating the OJMO with a nice curb stomp in an opening match. Scramble of Doom match. Chuck Cyrus, Malik, Adam Maxted, our buddy Carlos Romo, Paul Sayers, In a nice match, Chuck Cyrus won with an F5 and a pile driver on Adam Maxted. Giselle Shaw defeated Mercedes Blaze. David Starr defeated Callum Newman in a good match. Tag match, Robbie X and Scotty Davis lost to Lucas Steele and Nathan Cruz. Kyle Fletcher defeated Connor Mills in a very good match. And Fletcher won with a spinning tombstone pile driver. Very cool. And in the main event, Will Ospreay defeated his girlfriend, Bea Priestley, with a Stormbreaker in what was a great match of the night. And pretty much of the week. They really could put on a show. Then GCW held an empty arena match for the Acid Cup Night 1 on the 19th with Joey Janela on commentary. During the show, they were able to raise $7,000 for the performers of their show. All first round matches for first night. So KTB defeated Cole Radrick. Shane Mercer defeated Lucky 13. Alley Cat defeated Atticus Cougar with Nick Gage distraction. Jordan Oliver defeated Alice Taylor. Matthew Justice defeated Jimmy Lloyd in a great hard-fought match. Blake Christian defeated Benjamin Carter with a 450 splash, which was a very cool match between these two. Chris Dickinson defeated Pinky Sanchez. And Nick Gage defeated the one called Manders. In night 2, it was KTB losing to Shane Mercer. Mercer hit a coast-to-coast early on while KTB was sitting in the corner enjoying some White Claw. It was a good match, but it ended in a quick roll-up. Then Blake Christian went against Matthew Justice in a match that went all over the hidden arena. Went into the men's bathroom. Christian hit a handspring DDT onto a chair for the win. Also a match between these two. Then Chris Dickinson defeated Alley Cat. And Jordan Oliver defeated Nick Cage with the help of Atticus Cougar and Young, Dumb, and Broke. In a social distancing rules match, which you had to stay 6 feet apart from each other, Jimmy Lloyd versus Joey Janela. This was an outstanding display of athleticism between these two. This was a fun match without any touching. Yes, they did not touch one bit. Joey won with a spear through the door. I got to give it to these two. They put on a great match show. It's something different and very cool. Look it up on Twitter. I'm sure it's all about the place. And then semifinals, Chris Dickinson defeated Shane Mercer in a good match. Dickinson won with a reversing second rope combo moonsault. Cool way to reverse it, and nice match. In the other semifinal was Blake Christian defeating Jordan Oliver in what was set to be a rematch later on during Mania weekend. Blake started before the bell with a cannonball from the stairway, and then a smoother openings choreograph segment, which started the big debate: is there too much choreography in wrestling? Well, if you saw this, it was awesome. Next up was their Cluster Battle Royal. I won't say what it really is. You can win by pinfall, submission, over the rope, or just leaving the building. Or death. They don't want to say that, but it's one of the rules. It consisted of Benjamin Carter, Cole Radrick, Alice Taylor, Pinky Sanchez, a cardboard cutout of Pitbull, Jimmy Lloyd, a t-shirt staffer, a cardboard cutout of John Cena taped to KTB, Atticus Cougar, Nick Gage, Manders, Ring Boy Dalton, and Lucky 13. This was very gimmicky, fun, still nonetheless. They actually threw the cardboard cutout of Pitbull onto 5 guys from the balcony, which is like, okay, fine. Pitbull is actually going to be winning this, but again, Gage came out of nowhere and eliminated him for the win. It's a GCW thing, but still very cool nonetheless. In the Acid Cup final, Chris Dickinson versus Blake Christian. In a great match, Dickinson won with a Death Valley Driver, then a Pazuzu Bomb. Good show by GCW, and credit to them for putting on a show from a hidden location, even though everyone knows where it was, and raising money for everyone who participated and anyone else in the independent scene. So in some good news from Japan, they are starting to hold events with small crowds, subject to temperature readings for fans, and all wearing masks inside. DDT Pro Judgment 2020 took place on the 20th. Tokyo Ocean Pro was back on the 21st. And Stardom is going to be on Tuesday, March the 24th, for round 1 of the Cinderella Tournament, with the first hour being live on YouTube, which is at 4:30 a.m. Central Time. So I don't think I will be up for that. The entire show will be uncut on Stardom World by midnight Japan time that same night. The show with pre-match promos and subtitles will be available later in the week. Hopefully that means on YouTube as well. One final note, I was going to steal a segment from Tom with a indie show of the week, but since the Freelance Warehouse show was postponed due to new suggestions, I have decided not to bring it up this week. That's a wrap for me till next week, where I will recap some of the Japan shows, maybe some CZW, and anything else that comes along the way. Thank you for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed the cut. Remember, support any indie company or wrestler you can during these trying times. I know it's hard to do, but if you can, please do so. Stay safe, wash your hands, everyone, and back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Charlie. And like he said, make sure you support your independent wrestlers however you can. If you can buy a t-shirt, buy some merch, check out their whatever kind of content that they put out. A lot of independent wrestlers have like Patreon, where they'll do special content for their fans and things like that. Check out the independent pay-per-views on the internet. And stuff like that. Just support these independent wrestlers who these guys don't a lot of them do have other jobs, but again, those other jobs a lot of times are shut down right now as well. So so support these guys for entertaining us and everything that they do to to keep wrestling fans entertained. And talking about independent guys and everything that they do to keep us entertained as wrestling fans, that leads me into the next segment of the show, and I am talking about the Troll of the Week. So this week's Troll of the Week is a WWE superstar who thought it would be a good idea to I don't know what he was trying to accomplish, honestly. He thought it would be a good idea to kind of make fun or talk crap about independent wrestlers on social media, promoting their other avenues of income, i.e. their merchandise, their Patreon pages, and things like that. And I'm talking about Braun Strowman. I mean, he just showed his whole ass on Twitter within the last couple of days, in response to Evil Uno, who by all accounts, despite what his on-screen persona is, Evil Uno seems to be a very stand-up guy. But he put a post out there about supporting independent wrestling and buying merchandise and doing what you can to support your favorite independent stars. And Braun Strowman had to chime in. Oh, here's another person saying, "Oh, come pay my bills for me," and this and that. It just stupid. And when people called him out on it, he doubled down on it, saying, before you start saying that you're a WWE superstar. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I moved to Florida 7 years ago with $150 in my pocket and blah, 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 blah. And talking about, oh, well, sometimes you have to reevaluate your dreams and put stuff on hold and find a different job within, so that you have a steady income. And that's why I gave up on two of my dreams. One was strongman competition. I don't know what the other one was. Just this inane, stupid rambling. And you know what that says to me? Number one, Braun, you're a two-time quitter because you gave up on your strongman dreams or whatever it might be because it wasn't paying your bills at that time. So you gave up on it. You quit. So you must not have loved it all that much. These indie guys, they put everything they have into pro wrestling. A lot of them work 2-3 jobs so that they can support themselves while chasing their wrestling dreams. And these guys bust their asses, and they deserve a whole lot more respect than what Strowman is giving them. But the part that pissed me off the most about Strowman was that somebody basically mentioned something about him, still getting paid, and he's trying to sit there and say he has, quote, nothing coming in. Bullshit. I am calling bullshit on Braun Strowman. You are a WWE contracted superstar. That means you have what's known as a downside guarantee that you get paid whether you're wrestling or not. Okay, let me say that again. You are a contracted WWE superstar. If your contract does not have a downside guarantee where you're collecting a paycheck no matter what, then you're an idiot. So you're either a liar or you're stupid. Which one is it? You're either a liar because you're getting a downside paycheck even while you're not working, and you're getting merchandise royalties as well. So don't tell me you have nothing coming in during this time. He's trying to sit here and say, oh, if I don't work, I don't get paid. Bullshit. You are a liar, Braun Strowman. Either that or you're an idiot for signing a contract with WWE that has no downside guarantee and no merchandise royalties. All right? So I lost every last bit of respect that I might have had for Braun Strowman just in the last couple of days when this crap came out. So, Braun Strowman, you're the troll of the week. You're probably the troll of the month at this point. So, I can't even. I should probably just stop right there. And, honestly, if this somehow gets back to Braun Strowman, I don't care. I'll say it to his face. Because, honestly, what's he going to do? Go ahead. Put your hands on me. I'd love it. I'd enjoy it. So would my attorneys. Because I will be quite happy to watch you sitting in a jail cell while I live the rest of my life on your money. So, Braun Strowman, you make your way to Chicago. Come get in my face about it, because I'll say exactly the same thing. You are a liar. And honestly, for what, for the stuff that you chose to put out there online, even though you deleted it later on, doesn't matter. It's still out there. You're trash. So yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, sorry, went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but Braun Strowman, this week's Troll of the Week. So enjoy. Anyway, so let's get into something a little bit more fun on the show. I think that's something we all need right about now, is just a little bit more fun. And I'm talking about the Fantasy Booker. So this week's Fantasy Booker, I'm talking about WrestleMania. It's not a specific match or fantasy matchup or anything like that, but with the kind of odd way that WWE is having to do WrestleMania this year, I think they should go for something a little bit different. I mean, they've already split it into 2 nights, which is something people have been asking for a while, but do something a little bit different, I don't want to say outside the box because it's not really that weird of a concept, but make WrestleMania all championship matches. I mean, every single championship be defended. We're talking 18 titles, 18 matches over 2 nights. Perfectly doable. 9 matches on night 1, 9 matches on night 2. That's definitely workable for a 3 to 4 hour show. And a lot of the title matches are already set up, but you figure you've got the Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and NXT UK men's titles because they're not able to do TakeOver. Put the NXT titles on WrestleMania. Put the NXT UK titles on WrestleMania. You can, tape those matches from the UK in an empty arena the same way they're doing the matches here in the US. And just have every single title defended on one show. I cannot remember the last time that was done by WWE, since they've had this many titles. So I don't think they've ever done it since they've had this many titles. So, have every match a title match, and I got no problem with multi-person matches to get as many people on the show as you can and that kind of thing. But, I think it would draw I think it would draw a little bit more interest from some people knowing that the NXT UK superstars are going to be on WrestleMania. Same thing with, the NXT stars, getting them on WrestleMania. You're not able to have your takeover shows, but you're still getting those big takeover matches on the main WrestleMania card. And, I think the audience would like it. I mean, especially if you can have, Walter defending the NXT UK title against Finn Balor on WrestleMania. I mean, when else are you going to see that other than this crazy time that we're going through? So that's my fantasy booker for this week is WrestleMania should be, as it is, over 2 nights from an empty arena, or arenas as it were, however it's going to work out. And you have 9 matches on night 1, 9 matches on night 2, all 18 championships being defended. That should be your WrestleMania for 2020. And it would definitely be a memorable show. It would be the first of its kind for WWE in the current era, where every single title under the WWE umbrella is defended on one show. And I think the people would eat it up. I think without having a live crowd there, I would assume pay-per-view buys are going to be pretty high for this one anyway. And I think if you were to do something like this, incorporating NXT and NXT UK and 205 Live as well, let's not forget about them, I think that would just increase your pay-per-view buys, because people are going to want to see those stars that they wouldn't ordinarily see on a WWE main roster show, quote unquote. So that's fantasy booker for this week. That's how I would book WrestleMania for this year. So moving into the last segment of the show, usually this would be a not so popular opinion, but I think this is probably the more popular opinion this week, and I am of course talking about the weekly hot take. So my hot take for this week is this: AEW so far is winning the empty arena era, as I am calling it, even if it's only going to be for a few weeks or a couple of months or whatever it might be. We are currently in the empty arena era. And AEW, I mean, they've only done one show from Daly's Place without an audience, but they brought it. I mean, they put on a great show this past Wednesday, and like I said, it was up against an NXT show that had no live matches, it was just like I said, a recap show hosted by Triple H and Tom Phillips. I mean, it was a good show. I like, I'm a big fan of those little mini documentaries that WWE does about rivalries and about superstars and stuff like that, so I still thought it was a very good show. I'm not knocking it at all, but comes down to the ratings, and AEW was somewhat, I want to say, in the neighborhood of 970,000 or something like that, and NXT was like 500 some odd thousand. So AEW definitely won the ratings war this week. So I think and AEW has said they're going to continue doing live shows every Wednesday. I would assume they'd all be from Daly's Place, and NXT, as I talked about, is more than likely going to be taped. So I think for the immediate future, AEW is going to keep, if they keep going the way that they're going, they are going to continue winning this ratings battle when it comes to the empty arena events. That's pretty much it. That's all I got for this week. I hope everybody is staying safe, staying healthy, doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you're if you have a shelter-in-place order wherever you live. I hope you're abiding by it. I know I am here. Everybody in my house is safe and healthy. We've got, we've got food in the house. We've got everything we need. Like I said, I am working from home, and I am very grateful for that because I know there's a lot of people that are not able to do that. So I am very, very thankful that I'm able to still work and still have a paycheck coming in. And yeah, like I said, I hope everybody's staying safe, staying healthy, being smart, doing what you're supposed to be doing, and just take advantage of being able to stay home and just be with your family. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like I said earlier in the show, if you can't stand being in your own home for a few weeks, I get it. People are going to get bored. There's only so much you can watch on TV. There's only so many times you can play the same video games and stuff like that. But, it's still, it's your own home. I'm sure you can find something to do. And, you're not locked in there. We're not on a lockdown. We can still go outside and go to the grocery store or gas station or whatever it might be. At least here we can. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but that's what the shelter-in-place order basically means. Non-essential businesses, yes, are closed down, like the company I work for, but the grocery stores are still open, the gas stations are still open, obviously the medical facilities, hospitals, doctors' offices, urgent care, those places are still open, liquor stores are still open. I know that's important for some people, but, guys, it's a minor inconvenience in the grand scheme of things, so don't get too bent out of shape about it. Like I said, if you can't stand being stuck in your own house for a couple of weeks, there's probably a bigger issue at play. But anyway, that's all I got for this week. So like I said, hope everybody's staying safe, staying healthy, and being smart. And I enjoy the whatever wrestling is going to be coming up this week. And looking forward to seeing how WrestleMania is going to come out in a couple of weeks. I'm planning on doing a kind of a WrestleMania top 10 show coming up, possibly next week, or I may drop it the weekend of WrestleMania. I'm still kind of working on it, but I'll have some type of special WrestleMania show happening. Don't know if I'm going to be doing it solo or if I'm going to be having some people joining me via Skype. Still working that stuff out and deciding what's the best way to go about that, but that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So until then, like I said, everybody stay safe, enjoy all whatever wrestling is coming up in this next week, and I will talk to you guys soon.